How's it going, guys? So that was pretty quick and painless. Elimination Chamber, clocking in almost at exactly 2.5 hours, which is like the length that a typical pay-per-view used to be um, before the network. This was pretty standard fare. When there was a crowd, these pay-per-views were 3.5 hours, 4 hours sometimes. And that was something that was reserved only for WrestleMania. And then they got the bright idea that let's make all the other pay-per-views longer. So this was actually I thought it was a good show for what it was. And the end, the finish, the real finish, it was good. It was unexpected. You didn't expect it to see in that spot right there. So let's get into this. So we start off. They have the intro like they always do. I usually don't mention this part in my reviews because it's a standard package, flair. They always do these very well. But we get 4 entrances for the superstars in the Smackdown Elimination Chamber. Winner's going to face Roman Reigns after this. And then after 4 of the wrestlers get into the pods, then they do the video package specifically for this match. And I thought that was really odd, just having the wrestlers in the pod and they're like, well, hold on, guys. The guys who are not in the pods who are going to start off the match have to hold on so they could play this video package. Why didn't they just play the package before the entrances? I thought that was odd. This was a good chamber. A lot of the chamber matches, I got to be perfectly honest with you, I've never really seen a bad or horrible match. I wish that they would implement, like, if they're not gonna do blood, I understand, do fake blood, just something in these matches, because what always takes me out of these matches, I'm being honest with you, is, and I've said this in the past, but I think it bears repeating because it's been a while since I've mentioned this element. They're being thrown into the steel. This is supposed to be like a harrowing match where their bodies are supposed to be getting battered and beaten up. So it would be nice to, show the stress it's taking on their bodies. I'm not saying let's get them all bruised up and everything, but like even just a little fake blood would be nice, just as an extra visual to really drive home the point that this is a big, brutal match worthy of our attention. But, there was a lot to like about this. I like the fact that, that they had Zayn really capitalizing on his character. Sami Zayn, for a guy that looks like total shit, I've said it time and time again, for a guy that doesn't look like a star, he's acting like a star. And I talked about this in my Smackdown review. When Sami Zayn actually stole the show from Edge and Roman Reigns, who just didn't really seem motivated on SmackDown. I guess they were having an off night. Sami Zayn came in there and he added a little bit of pizzazz to it. And, the way he was climbing away from Cesaro. Cesaro, did a good job. Like I said, I don't have any problem with Cesaro wrestling-wise. It's mostly just there's no presence. Him being in there, it's like I just don't see Cesaro being a part of these big matches and being a worthy contender. And I thought that after Owens got eliminated, I was like, oh, okay, so you know what? Maybe they're going to have Cesaro go on to face Reigns. They're going to, because I was so sure that it was going to be Owens. And hopefully this is a message that it's over with Owens and that it's done. And it looks more like he's going to be set up for a feud with Jey Uso, which has already been a feud, but it's, now they're probably going to have like a blow-off match finally, either at Fastlane or at Mania or something like that. I don't know. I just want Owens to be done completely with the whole entire Jey Uso, Roman Reigns part of SmackDown. Like, it's enough already. First of all, I don't even want the guy to be there, period. But if he has to be involved in something, I say, get him away and get him a different opponent or something like that. Because I am just so sick to death of seeing Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens and Jey Uso, because he's been involved with Jey Uso as much as he has with Roman Reigns, to be quite honest. So I don't really get why they're still continuing on with this. But what I did like is that there was some realism. I could have sworn, especially after that last man standing match at the Royal Rumble, that they were going to have Jey Uso, after super kicking him in the face 5 times, after trapping his arm in the Elimination Chamber cage, which was a good little spot there. And then he hit the splash. I was like, oh, Kevin Owens is going to kick out of this. And Jey Uso beat him. He pinned him right there in the chamber. And I was like, at least they seem like they're gaining somewhat of a semblance of some sort of realism back with this product after having all the different kickouts and everything over the past couple of years. I have noticed they've been starting to kind of sway away from that a little bit. So we have Daniel Bryan surprisingly winning this match. And then Roman Reigns comes right out. And, you got Reigns charges at him. Looks like he's going for a spear. I almost thought he actually kind of did hit him with the spear. But Daniel Bryan takes him down. And then Reigns ends up to pry his hands apart. Picks him up. Maneuvers him into the guillotine. And it's over. I kind of don't even see what the point of all that was. I really don't. I don't see what that does for Bryan, what that does for Reigns. Roman beat up, a guy that was already beat up. It doesn't make any sense. This made sense in the main event. When there's a purpose really to have one guy beat up on a guy that's already been beaten down, but I don't really get this, and this is kind of how I really expected it to be. When they announced this match a few weeks back, I was like, I kind of knew that they were going to have Reigns come out right after the chamber. I was starting to think that maybe they would save it for later on in the night, like maybe they would put this in the main event slot, but that didn't happen. Instead, we kind of got this, and I was just like, a little confused, like, all right, well, that was just very basic and emphatic, like, and realistic, I guess, which is good, but it's almost like I have to ask the question, like, what was the point of that? And I don't know. I think this would have maybe been better off, like, maybe as a lead-in to Fastlane or to an episode of Smackdown they could have saved it for, and I get that kind of wasn't the point. But really, what was the point? Because I don't see what we really got out of this watching this. Really, the perspective here is like, well, he beat a guy that was already beat up and really nothing more. Does it get Reigns heat for beating up on a baby face? I guess, but is that really effective heat? Does that really do anything? Well, anyway, it got Reigns out there so Edge could give him the spear. So I guess that was what the point was at the end. I guess just to get him out there so Edge could spear him. And that was kind of supposed to be the visual message. And it was confirmed on commentary that was Edge telling Reigns that he has chosen. And we kind of already knew this. It didn't take a brain surgeon to realize that Edge was going to pick Roman Reigns. So up next, we've got The Miz and Bad Bunny backstage. Bad Bunny slaps The Miz. Miz turns around, and he's looking at Damian Priest. So, and then after that, man, that's kind of just about it. Bad Bunny is the 24/7 champion. R-Truth did not win the championship back on this show, surprisingly. They wanted Bad Bunny to carry the belt into SNL and everything like that. And I guess, I'm not against them promoting themselves and, trying to do what they can with celebrities. I know people cry and complain and bitch about this. But, like, if this is a popular singer, then I guess fine. Um, I don't really, this really just says something about popular music. Like, this is what people find to be good. And it's not just like a niche audience. Like, this guy is like the number one downloaded guy on Spotify. And you can make the argument that, oh, well, they pay people, it's the production studio, they download his songs. No, there's people that listen to this music and, I mean, he did a song about Booker T, so that probably, alerted them to the fact that there is a guy called Bad Bunny in existence. But I've always, like, I'm not in tune with popular music, but, like, you kind of already know. Like, The Weeknd is someone that I know. And I'm even willing to admit that the guy has talent. And I especially like the song that they picked for WrestleMania last year. But this, the reggaeton thing, it's a very niche thing. And I guess it's, it's a little bit more global than that. But it's not like this guy has a big personality or anything like that. He's got a really stupid, like, hairstyle. And I don't know. I don't know what the appeal is, and it doesn't really seem like it's helping the ratings. I don't think anyone's like, oh, Bad Bunny is on, I gotta watch the WWE. Because it doesn't really seem like it's affecting. Even with him having the belt on, I mean, we'll see on Raw. But it's almost like they're expecting the ratings to shoot through the roof because of Bad Bunny. And I just don't think that's going to be the case. But I guess that remains to be seen. We'll see what happens tomorrow when Bad Bunny gets on Raw with the belt. After being on SNL with it. After that, we've got Matt Riddle defeating Bobby Lashley and John Morrison because apparently Keith Lee is injured. So first he got COVID. Now he's injured, and I mean, this guy's had a real string of bad luck, to say the least. But, Morrison ended up winning a fatal 4-way on the pre-show, so he qualified for this match. They knock Lashley to the outside with a crutch, and Riddle takes advantage and pins Morrison to win the U.S. title. And I was kind of surprised that they took the belt off of Lashley here. I kind of was. I didn't think really that they were going to give a belt to Riddle. I don't know, Riddle, it's kind of like, this is a guy where I really don't know what to think of him. Verbally outside of the ring, like in real life, the guy is a total obnoxious idiot. And, people seem to really like this guy and think that he has, like, a great personality and that he's right about a lot of stuff that he says. But he's fighting the Undertaker's, like, message that the product is soft. And it is. And he's trying vehemently to try to counter that argument. Trying to make, like, Taker's wrong. And he says, oh, we have metal detectors and we're safe and everything. And he's trying to make this argument that the product is super safe and everything, kind of forgetting the fact that there's been more injuries and concussions than ever before, that we had someone in their 20s, their career ended, Paige. We had Seth Rollins ending Sting's career, and I know Sting is getting ready to wrestle in AEW, but his career is sort of pretty much officially still over. I guess you could say he's just semi-retired now, but whatever the case may be, he injured Sting very badly, to say the least, and that's really putting it mildly. But, he thinks that the product is a lot safer than it has been, and, whatever the man thinks, he's entitled to his opinion, but whatever. I think he's a good wrestler. I've warmed up to him. I said even the character he portrays, he does the stoner character well. So it's not really a total loss. Still a bit of a goofball, but I sort of kind of have started to like the guy a little bit. But it didn't really seem like WWE was kind of sure. I don't know really why I think that, because I mean it does seem like the majority of the time they have him win. They book him, I guess, strong by today's standards, but it doesn't seem like they're really ready to commit to him, especially because they've given him a gimmick where he acts like an idiot, like a guy of very extremely low IQ who's talking about donuts and comparing AJ Styles to his pet rabbit and all this other garbage. But, he's the U.S. champion, and the guy seems like a hard worker, and, whatever. Like the belt even means anything anymore. But, they gave him the belt. They unseated Lashley, and the match was pretty decent for what it was. You had Morrison kind of get in there, and it kind of seemed like they created some drama in there. So it was actually a pretty fast pace. It was a good match. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeated Bianca Belair and Sasha. And before we get to the match, let's talk about, again, the camera pans to Bianca and Sasha, and they've got the biggest, cheesiest Cheshire cat grins on their face, and it's like, why are they smiling so much? More of this I'm just happy to be there bullshit. It's like, it's really just cheesy, unrealistic. Like, who goes around smiling all the time unless you're demented, unless something's completely wrong with you? I'm not saying don't be happy or be positive in life, but man, like, they're smiling all the time. And again, with Sasha with the laugh, like the Wicked Witch laugh. It needs to end. Everyone's cackling. Everyone's giggling. It's enough already. Yet Reginald comes in and again with the laugh and everything. And everyone's laughing and smiling. And it's just like, I don't know. Is it supposed to be like a horror movie where they're just laughing and trying to creep you out? Speaking of that, we're going to talk about like how Alexa Bliss was nowhere to be seen on this show or anything with The Fiend, and this probably would have been a good time to show that stuff. But so we have the match. Reginald gives a bottle of wine to Sasha to use. She hesitates. She says, I'm not going to use that. Then the referee sees it. This causes a distraction, and Nia Jax ends up hitting the Samoan drop on Sasha and gets the pin. So that's basically about it. Just, I thought that maybe they were going to, like, create some sort of intrigue, like something they used to do back in the day, have Sasha win the tag belts with Bianca Belair. So now it's like the tag champions that are kind of like friends. Remember that frenemy thing? I don't know. Maybe it's better off they didn't do that, but I don't know. I guess it was okay, this match. I didn't really hate it or anything. It's almost like, like Asuka, they forgot about that she's a champion. Charlotte nowhere to be seen. Kind of weird that this pay-per-view was as short as it is, and it was like missing, some of the usual people that you would see, but I'm not really complaining. I was perfectly happy with the length of this show. After that, we move on, and we're already at the end of the show in the last match. It's Drew McIntyre defeating Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Kofi Kingston, and Jeff Hardy. I was kind of confused by a lot of these eliminations. This was, I don't know which chamber match I liked more. Like, at the beginning, I was sort of thinking I liked the Smackdown one better. I thought it kind of started off a little bit better. This one didn't really start off as well. And I think it's kind of because of the Sami Zayn antics kind of made the first one a bit more fun. But as we got into this, the match started to get a little bit more fun, a little bit, better to watch, a bit better, like, paced, and everyone getting involved. And, so we got Orton getting eliminated by Kofi Kingston. First of all, what is Kofi Kingston even doing in this match? I don't get it. Like, all of a sudden, we're just Now remembering he was the WWE champion back in 2019. Oh, wow. Well, that actually was a thing? Yeah, it did. It happened. And since then he's been just back to tag teaming once again. But, they kind of remembered this. They were trying to do the Kofi Orton feud, but like they didn't play off of that feud for a whole entire year. So here we are back to doing it again. And Kofi just gets a weird looking like cradle on him. Orton hits 2 RKOs. AJ orders Almost to rip off the back of the pod. And AJ comes around, he comes outside of, that was unique, taking advantage of the strength of the big man, playing off of that. So I guess that was something new. They hadn't really done anything like that before. But he gets into the ring, and then you have Adam Pearce, who showed the first bit of emotion he probably has since being the sort of weird GM authority figure, whatever his official title is, which he doesn't even really have one. He sends Almost to the back. I thought maybe we're going to finally see something of significance from Almost. Like, maybe he would have picked up Pearce and like tossed them. Like, I don't know. I feel like this guy's a waste. Like, yeah, they did do that spot, but like he hasn't really made an impact of any sort, if you know what I mean. Usually these big guys like Diesel with Shawn Michaels, you would have them showing like demonstrating power and really being, useful and scary and a threat. But like he just is a guy who basically stands around and once in a while catches AJ and does stuff like he did tonight. I think it's a missed opportunity. AJ gets in the ring and he doesn't even like capitalize off of any of those RKOs, which seems stupid because he got in early. It's not even like the referee tried to stop him or anything. Like, I don't know, like, okay, it's like, was he supposed to make him go into a pod? It's closed from this side, so I guess that would... But why are they even doing this? It's kind of just like the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns thing. Like, why are we even doing this? There was no point to it. He came out just to get in the match a little bit early, and he lasted all the way to the end. He's the one who got pinned by Drew, which was really strange to have AJ, pinning Sheamus when the main story here was supposed to be Sheamus and Drew. And I kind of figured like, okay, we're not going to get Drew and Sheamus one-on-one, but they're probably at least going to just have, them go at it for like a good, like, maybe like 8 minutes or so at the end, and just really like do a really climactic type of ending. But they didn't. It's like a phenomenal forearm after Sheamus hits the bro kick on Drew. And, Jeff Hardy also like, after they showed like Jeff is putting his body on the line once again in this match. And it's almost like he's eliminated and it's almost like nothing. Like you knew that he wasn't even going to get this far, even show like he had any type of possibility of winning. But anyway, a good match. And in the end, we have Bobby Lashley coming out, beating the ever-living shit out of Drew. And I don't think we've seen this match yet, but this seems like that could be a really good match. And then after that, The Miz comes out. And, you did see in the back, you had MVP talking to The Miz before. So you kind of saw this coming in a way. And The Miz comes out. He cashes in. You have Drew kicking out of the first pinfall attempt, but then he hits the skull-crushing finale, ends up pinning Drew, and The Miz is the WWE champion for the first time in over, just about 10 years, because he lost it in 2011. So, The Miz is champ again, and he capitalized off of it, and the thing is this, I don't know, after him losing to Damian Priest and everything, it doesn't have a lot of momentum behind it. I like the way how they booked it and they set this up, though, because Lashley was fuming about losing the U.S. title and everything like that. I don't know how he gets from from that, like moving from Riddle to Drew McIntyre. I don't know, unless I don't know really how this is gonna really work out. Like, I'm kind of confused now, even thinking about this. I'm like, it was a cool finish to the show, but like, he helped the Miz. So I don't know, did the Miz like pay off MVP to send Lashley out there? I don't know. I'm going to guess they're going to try one of their oh so great explanations on Raw. But you know how this always goes whenever they have to explain anything. It's always going to be like a big math equation on a blackboard that doesn't make any sense. It's going to be some bullshit explanation that is like just some harebrained thing. Like, I don't like, because I really couldn't even think about, like, you tell me in the comments, what could have really been the motivator here to have Lashley, who has like no history with Drew, to just suddenly come out there and beat him up and, make way for the Miz to cash in. I mean, it was a good moment. I am a fan of the Miz. I've said that for many a year on here. I had said that he should have won this belt a long time ago after being in intercontinental title hell, just being in this upper mid-card, hell for years and years and having endless matches with Dolph Ziggler. It is nice that he finally got the belt again, because I think he deserves it. I don't know what they're planning here. It seems like could it possibly be the Miz and Drew? Something about that match isn't really that attractive to me. Like, I don't know, like, but I feel like Bobby Lashley would be factored in here. But it would really be something if Drew McIntyre is not even involved in the match at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, right? That would really truly be something. I think it would be kind of fucked up, to say the least. But I mean, you do have a whole nother pay-per-view, Fastlane, which they didn't even have last year. And like I said, I don't know if that was due to the pandemic, but they went from the Chamber to Mania last year. So I don't know. But anyway, I enjoyed the pay-per-view. It was a good finish. It was, something to remember the pay-per-view by. You had some good matches. There wasn't really anything overly bad on this show, so I don't have that many complaints. I would just like to see how they're going to explain what they did at the end there, so it somewhat makes sense, but you know that it never does and it never will. So anyway, there you go, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bells to get all notifications when I post all my new videos. I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support, and thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.